and welcome back. Now, we did take a look at the context to William Blake's London in the last video, which, as you know, is from the AQA Power and Conflict cluster of poetry. If you haven't watched that, then please take a moment to go back and do so before continuing with this video. Quick recap. Blake was a visionary romantic poet who published London in 1794 as part of his Songs of Innocence and Experience. The experience part to which London belonged was intended to critique society. So the poem paints a condemnatory picture of England's capital city in the late 18th century. In this video, we're going to be focusing on form and structure. The first thing to note is that the poem is neatly divided into 4 stanzas of 4 lines each, and these stanzas are known as quatrains. This tightly structured approach mimics the charted streets, where the geography of London is as tightly controlled as the poetic metre. Every quatrain follows a simple A-B rhyme scheme. It's this melodic element that allowed Blake to classify his poems as songs, though they weren't set to music. And the first 3 lines are written in strict iambic tetrameter, which is 4 da-dums to a line, where every second syllable is stressed. However, we know that Blake is butting against the established order, so the 4th line, where the marks of weakness, marks of woe are observed, disrupts the metre, and there are breaks in it throughout, just as there are cracks in those palace walls. As mentioned last time, Blake takes his readers on a tour of London, showing us the sights and sounds. The poem is therefore structured a little like a travelogue, taking in a different experience in each stanza. The first-person perspective makes the poet our guide, and that metrical pattern sounds a bit like footsteps, walking the streets and occasionally being stopped in its tracks by sights that shock and appall. The 3rd stanza, taken as an acrostic, where you read down the first letter of each line to spell out a word, tells us to hear. Blake is literally compelling us to listen to his song and heed his message. It's a wonder that the 4th and final stanza doesn't spell act, but then that's not a 4-letter word. The sensory assault certainly has reached a crescendo by the end, with the oxymoronic image of the marriage hearse. An oxymoron is a figure of speech or an idea that juxtaposes, put side by side, 2 things that seem to create a contradiction. In this instance, hearses are for funerals, not weddings. Who would ever want a marriage hearse? Just as the songs of innocence and experience are juxtaposed, Blake is here comparing mother and infant and suggesting they are equally miserable. Associating the ritual of marriage with death is the final nail in the coffin of institutionalized ideals that are far from the reality of experience. That is a lot to take in, so I hope you found it useful. To summarize, the rhyme and metre of London is pretty regular, yet breaks in metre hint towards cracks in the order and reveal Blake's anti-establishment thinking. Quatrains take in different sights and sounds as Blake takes us on a tour of the city. The tour ends quite shockingly with the abnormal and wretched image of a marriage hearse. You can find revision notes for London and lots of other poems on the Twinkle Beyond web pages. Hope you're finding our journey through London more palatable than Blake's, and that you'll join us again next time when we'll be looking at the themes. Bye for now.